The story of America begins long before 1776, stretching back to the early days of exploration and settlement. Early European explorers arrived on the shores of what we now call the United States in the late 16th century, driven by the promise of new lands and untold riches. Sir Walter Raleigh established the Roanoke colony in 1585, which mysteriously vanished, becoming known as the Lost Colony. This early attempt at colonization ended in mystery and failure. In 1607, Jamestown, Virginia, became the first permanent English settlement. This marked the beginning of a new era in the New World. These early colonists faced incredible hardships, including disease, starvation, and conflict with Native American tribes. Their survival was a testament to their resilience and determination. Despite the challenges, more and more Europeans, seeking religious freedom and new opportunities, made the perilous journey across the Atlantic. They were driven by hope and the promise of a better life. The Pilgrims, a group of Puritan refugees, landed at Plymouth Rock in 1620. Their arrival marked a significant moment in the history of American colonization. They signed the Mayflower Compact, an early example of self-governance, laying the foundation for the democratic ideals that would shape America. This compact was a pioneering document in the history of democracy. As more colonies were established, each developed its own distinct character and economy. The diversity of these colonies would later become a defining feature of the nation. The southern colonies, with their fertile land, relied heavily on agriculture, particularly tobacco, which was cultivated using enslaved Africans. This system of labor would have lasting implications. This reliance on slave labor would have profound consequences for the nation's history, shaping its social and economic structures in ways that are still felt today. The northern colonies developed diverse economies based on shipbuilding, fishing, and trade. Their economic activities were as varied as the landscapes they inhabited. The colonists, despite their differences, were bound by a common language, English common law, and a growing sense of independence from their European rulers. This shared identity began to unite them. This burgeoning sense of American identity was fueled by events like the Boston Tea Party in 1773, a protest against British taxation without representation. Such acts of defiance were crucial in galvanizing the colonies. The stage was set for a revolution that would forever alter the course of human history. The American Revolution was not just a fight for independence, but a battle for the principles of liberty and justice that would inspire future generations. The American Revolution, sparked by the battles of Lexington and Concord in 1775, was a testament to the colonists' unwavering commitment to liberty and self-determination. These early skirmishes ignited a fervor for independence that would sweep through the 13 colonies. Led by George Washington, a brilliant military strategist and charismatic leader, the Continental Army was formed to challenge British rule. The Continental Army faced the daunting task of confronting the mighty British Empire, which was then the most powerful military force in the world. The Declaration of Independence, penned by Thomas Jefferson and signed on July 4, 1776, was a bold statement of the colony's intent to form a new nation. It proclaimed the colony's separation from Great Britain and articulated the revolutionary ideals of equality and natural rights, setting the philosophical foundation for the new nation. The war raged for 8 long years, marked by both triumphant victories and crushing defeats. Each battle tested the resolve and endurance of the American forces. The Continental Army, often outnumbered and outgunned, persevered through sheer grit and determination. Their resilience became legendary. The winter encampment at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, became a symbol of their resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship. Despite the freezing temperatures and lack of supplies, the soldiers' spirit remained unbroken. The tide turned in the Americans' favor with the crucial victory at Saratoga in 1777, a turning point that boosted morale and proved the viability of the American cause. This victory secured the support of France, a powerful ally against Great Britain. French military and financial assistance was instrumental in sustaining the American war effort. The war finally ended in 1783 with the Treaty of Paris, which officially recognized the independence of the United States of America. The fledgling nation faced the daunting task of forging a new government. The challenge was to create a system that balanced liberty with order. The Articles of Confederation, adopted in 1777, proved too weak to effectively govern the newly formed nation. The lack of a strong central authority led to numerous problems. Recognizing these issues, in 1787, delegates from the states convened in Philadelphia to address the shortcomings of the Articles. The result was the United States Constitution, a remarkable document that established a system of government based on the principles of separation of powers, checks and balances, and federalism. This new framework aimed to prevent any one branch from gaining too much power. The Constitution, ratified in 1788, created a more perfect union, one that balanced the sovereignty of individual states with the need for a strong national government. This balance was crucial in ensuring the stability and longevity of the new nation. The Constitution provided a blueprint for governance that has endured for over 2 centuries. The Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, guaranteed fundamental rights and freedoms, ensuring that the new nation would be one governed by law, not by men. These amendments were essential in protecting individual liberties and limiting the power of the government, reflecting the revolutionary ideals that had driven the fight for independence. Thus, the United States of America was born, a nation forged in liberty, dedicated to the principles of democracy, and committed to the pursuit of a more perfect union. The issue of slavery, a deep-seated moral stain on the nation's conscience, was a contentious and divisive topic that had been brewing for decades. It cast a long shadow over the young republic, influencing politics, society, and the economy in profound ways. As the nation expanded westward, the debate over the expansion of slavery into new territories intensified, becoming a flashpoint for conflict. This debate drove a wedge between the North and the South, creating deep sectional tensions that would eventually lead to war. The Missouri Compromise of 1820 attempted to maintain a fragile balance between free and slave states, a temporary solution to a growing problem. But the issue continued to fester, with each new territory added to the Union reigniting the debate. The publication of Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin in 1852 galvanized the abolitionist movement, bringing the brutal realities of slavery into the homes of many Americans. This powerful novel exposed the horrors of slavery to a wider audience, fueling the fire of abolitionist sentiment across the nation. The Dred Scott Supreme Court decision of 1857, which ruled that slaves were not citizens and had no standing to sue in federal court, further inflamed tensions, making compromise seem impossible. The election of Abraham Lincoln, a Republican opposed to the expansion of slavery, in 1860 proved to be the final straw for the Southern states. 11 Southern states seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America, a bold and defiant move that set the stage for conflict. The Civil War began with the Confederate attack on Fort Sumter in April 1861, marking the start of a brutal and bloody conflict. The war was a brutal and bloody conflict, pitting brother against brother in a fight for the soul of the nation, with battles fought on countless fields across the country. Lincoln, a gifted orator and a compassionate leader, held the Union together through sheer force of will, delivering speeches that inspired and united the northern states. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by Lincoln in 1863, declared that all slaves in Confederate-held territory were to be freed, a bold and transformative move. This proclamation transformed the war into a fight, not just to preserve the Union, but to end slavery, giving the conflict a moral imperative. The war raged on for 4 long years, claiming the lives of over 600,000 Americans, leaving a trail of devastation and loss in its wake. The Union victory at Gettysburg in July 1863 marked a turning point in the war, a decisive battle that shifted the momentum in favor of the North. The Confederacy was finally defeated in April 1865, bringing an end to the Civil War and beginning the long process of healing and reconstruction. The Civil War left an indelible mark on the nation, reshaping its future and leaving scars that would take generations to heal. Slavery was abolished with the passage of the 13th Amendment, but the legacy of racism and inequality persisted, casting a long shadow over the post-war era. The Reconstruction era, a period of profound social and political upheaval, attempted to rebuild the South and integrate freed slaves into society, a monumental task fraught with challenges. While Reconstruction ultimately fell short of its goals, it laid the groundwork for the civil rights movement a century later, planting the seeds for future struggles for equality and justice. The late 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed a period of unprecedented industrial growth and technological innovation in the United States. The Industrial Revolution, which began in Great Britain, took root in America with remarkable speed and intensity. Factors such as abundant natural resources, a growing workforce fueled by immigration, and a spirit of entrepreneurialism created a fertile ground for industrial expansion. Railroads crisscrossing the nation, connected distant markets, and spurred economic growth. Giants of industry like Andrew Carnegie in steel, John D. Rockefeller in oil, and J.P. Morgan in finance revolutionized their respective industries and amassed vast fortunes. The rise of big business, however, also led to concerns about monopolies, labor exploitation, and the growing gap between the rich and the poor. America, once a collection of isolated colonies, was rapidly transforming into a modern industrial powerhouse. The nation's growing economic might coincided with its emergence as a global power. The Spanish-American War in 1898 marked a turning point in American foreign policy as the United States acquired overseas territories such as Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. The United States entered World War I in 1917, tipping the balance in favor of the Allies and helping to secure victory. The war, however, left Europe devastated and disillusioned. The Roaring Twenties, a decade of economic prosperity and cultural dynamism, followed the war. Jazz music filled the airwaves, flapper dresses challenged social norms, and the stock market soared to new heights.